All right, Carmen Nation, welcome back. Week 9, the cash process. I'm your host, AC, with DFS Karma, also betkarma.com. I got my co-captain, co-host, Ben Hostler. On election night, we're bringing you 2020 election, maybe some live results. Who knows? It's later in the afternoon into the evening, and we're going to talk DraftKings. We're going to talk FanDuel. We're going to talk how we did last week, some mistakes that we made, of course, how to adjust, how to get better, and then early macro thoughts on week 9 injuries, potentially some, obviously, as usual, COVID. It's 2020. I mean, what else is new? And we'll talk about the rest of the slate. So I'll go right to you, Ben. Tough week, I think, for probably a lot of people in the industry. Even if you're cashing last week in cash games, it was just a lot of snowflakes out there. But how did you do on both FanDuel, DraftKings? Anything you could have adjusted plus or minus looking back at it?
Yeah, so I had dropped my second straight on FanDuel, so that dropped me to 6-2. But I mean, look, you can say whether or not Jimmy G was a good player or not, but he didn't get any garbage time because he got hurt and left the game, so that was unfortunate. George Kittle, I had him there also. He got hurt, so kind of just ran bad there. Debated going Keenan over Lockett for a while. Dude, I just knew it was gonna be a DK game, man. Like we talked about it on the live stream. I just knew that was gonna happen. So that was kind of annoying. DraftKings, it was literally like a tie. I literally like basically won what I put in. And
Nice.
needed like 10 points from Jimmy G to win pretty much everything. But of course he sucked. That was a disaster. That just shows, man. Like it used to be like we always were spending down on QB and cash, but I don't know. That's just not the way that we've been going recently,
Right.
and it just like it's just so tilting. I don't know. And then like
So
Hunt,
first off,
I didn't want to play Hunt. I know like it was kind of the obvious cash play, but I did not want to play him, and
mhm.
I wish I wouldn't have, like looking back, because I really didn't want to play him.
Yeah, but you would have regretted it. I mean, he was like 89% owned or something. And had he done what he probably theoretically should have been, I mean, the weather clearly, of all places, we talked about that on the live stream, at least in Cleveland, it was like a disaster scenario as far as weather went. Like we knew that going in, but we had to play him. I mean, you had to upgrade the running game as well. Some of those dump off passes, which he just doesn't get as much as we would anticipate, right? Like I always feel like you can project him for some more yards receiving and in some of his catches with DraftKings, but I don't know if it's the Brown scheme, but not getting that done. Hey man, by the way, tie's a win. I didn't even know that you really kind of had that tie. I mean, again, a week like this, a tie with fucking 2 points. What did Jimmy G get? 2.7 points.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
basically nothing.
that's a feat in itself. I lost on DraftKings and I lost on FanDuel, so I had my first double losing week in, I don't know, 6 weeks or something. So FanDuel dropped there. Like I said, I don't think I played bad. It was just one of those weeks I ran bad. And what did I say, Ben? First week of the entire year, I said it to you via text and then again on the live stream, where I just straight up didn't like the slate. I didn't feel confident. Did I not even tell you that? I said I don't like my lineups going into this week as far as cash games. It was uncomfortable. Shout out to myself for at least not having as much bankroll out there. I retracted probably like only 10%, not much, but still saved. I just didn't like it going in. I mean, didn't you get those vibes at least going into the slate? And I'm not talking about just the weather, just kind of everything, because the reality is I wanted to pay down for Darren Waller, for example. Waller, was an optimal play. No offense. He didn't do anything, right, Ben? What do you have? Like 6 points? I don't even know. 6, 7.
Yeah, he didn't do that well. Got trolled in the end zone by Renfro, but dude,
You
I
know,
told you on Sunday morning. You were like, I have the most money I've played in tournaments all season, and I was like, dude,
yeah.
I hate this slate. That was my least favorite slate of the year by far.
And I'll get to that. I promise. I will get to that, the tournament side. So let me just finish too. I thought it was an incredible, like just a slate where there was too much variance for cash games. And you played Waller on both sides or just DraftKings?
No, I played Waller on DK and Kittle on FanDuel.
Yeah, and Kittle,
Yeah,
we know what happened
got
there.
hurt.
I liked my lineup a lot, and frankly, the key to it was Kendrick Bourne to be alive, as I kept talking about on the live stream, and the dude went for like 5x or something. I didn't anticipate 2 points from Jimmy G, who was chalk anyways, but Kittle, I was a little surprised, at least on DraftKings. Like I just felt like I did more with my lineup, so that's why I paid up. I don't like always going up top like that, but I just love the scenario for my lineup. And frankly, it just didn't work out. It was just literally bad EV, right? It was negative EV. It just didn't work out. Like, it is what it is, and you move on. And the key is, like we always say, don't blow your wad on just your cash game lineup, not only weekly, but for the entire month or season. I think it's important to freaking understand that you're going to have losing weeks straight up. Like, Ben, you are going to lose 2 to 4 more times probably the rest of the year, right? In that range in cash games, plus or minus.
Yeah, most likely. I'm I'm waiting for the hashtag blow your wad YouTube comments to come in though. That's probably my
Oh,
favorite.
yeah.
That was my favorite moment of the pod so
The
far this
blow
year.
the wad comments are coming. I did, however, to your point, before we get into the cash process week 9, it's another thing we talked about for years on here. Some people just make one lineup in like our Discord chats and stuff, and we try to tell people, get exposure to tournaments. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't, in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, I had 4 GPPs rolling, and 3 of the 4 did well and cashed, and I at least recouped some of my losses. I still had a losing week, but you know, I had some lineups in the running. So hashtag don't blow your wad, right, Ben? All right, let's get into week 9. Talk to me about COVID stuff, injuries, and then anything else on a macro level, and we'll just get into the slate.
Yeah, as always, with 2020, there's going to be random injuries that probably pop up. I'm happy that the Packers aren't on the slate, so we don't have to deal with this running back situation. But in terms of some bigger ones, Ravens defense is one we're monitoring because Marlon Humphrey went on the COVID list, and then a bunch of guys followed suit as close contacts, so they're on the list. So we'll see what happens there as we head throughout the week. Galladay is going to be out. Big one that just came out right before we got on here is Myles Gaskin is going to be out for 3 weeks, so that's a big one. McCaffrey, we'll wait and see if he comes back. He's only 8,500 on DraftKings, which is a discount, so something to monitor there. But we will see as we head later on into the week, obviously.
Okay. No point in talking weather. I know some people will want to talk about weather, but that's something we've never done and we never will do. Again, check out our content. That's why it's on the site, dfskarma.com, betkarma.com. Tons of pieces of content, projections, simulations, prop bet plays, everything on both sites throughout the week. They come strategically throughout the week, especially later towards the weekend. Sign up. All right, quarterback, Ben. I kind of got a guy that I dang well know you're going to like. I hope you don't bring him up, but where are you looking early in cash games this week?
No, I think you're probably spending up. I don't see any cheap guys I really like this week. So we're probably getting up to this high 6, 7K range. I mean, people will consider Kyler Murray. I know he's 7,800. People will consider him just because he's been so crazy with his legs. Like, you have to at least note what he has been doing. But the two that I think stick out the most are Deshaun Watson at 7,100, Josh Allen at 7K. So I don't like to take quarterbacks in the second divisional game against the same opponent. They've already played Jacksonville once this season, so that is worth monitoring. I think Allen, it's so funny to see Lamar at 6,900, like after what he did last year. Like, it's just so funny to see him down below 7K.
He's who we thought he was, though. I mean, yes, he has rushing upside, and this is the stuff I like poking the bear with some people at Bet Karma, especially Ricky, my guy, big Ravens fan. You know, I mean, yes, he's the MVP. He's the king. I mean, I'd love for him to be on the Browns, not going to lie, but I don't know, man. It's like, you're going to complete some passes, bro? Like, what's going on? Interesting. I know you like Watson, of course, Russ Wilson, and like you said early, too, such a little bit of a different philosophy kind of ebbing I feel like it's been a transitional couple years of a quarterback. It's like, let me play the guy who's going to score points. In fact, if you go back and listen to the tape, not that any of you guys are going to go back to last week, but I know in specific I brought up paying down for Jimmy G sounds painful and I don't like it, although it seems like it's the right play. Yes, I got sucked into the vortex, but for me personally, I was going Derek Carr, like not even a debate pretty much throughout the entire week until the Hurricane Katrina came through. So, you know, I do, like you said, Ben, like I just want quarterbacks who I know are going to score a lot of points. And, you know, paying up even for me at Russ Wilson on FanDuel. He was, I guess, somewhat chalky, but there were a lot of other plays as well. I just feel like you got to try and pay up, man, at quarterback, especially on FanDuel where pricing's a lot softer. So I don't think you mentioned him, but your guy, Josh Allen. I like him a lot this week. I mean, a lot. And I feel like I want to just play him in the lineup. Of course, if I have the extra 600, I'll go to Russ. But in the event that I'm kind of strapped, man, I am just staring at Josh Allen this week. I think he's going to absolutely ignite for 4 or 5x, no question, against the Seahawks team at home.
Yeah, he's at home. We just played Jimmy G against Seattle, right? Why would we not want Josh Allen against him? I know Josh Allen's had a rough couple weeks, but this is someone that has been matchup dependent, definitely, and this is one of the best matchups that you can get, and it's just a get right spot at home.
Right
after a couple bad games. So yeah, I don't know how we don't play Josh Allen, to be honest.
Yeah, and there is some great charts that fly around the Twitter sphere and Instagram and some things. And there's this one that I kind of pay attention to, and I honestly apologize for not remembering who spits it out. But it's two of the top passing teams, neutral situation in the entire NFL. 2 of the 3 is the Bills and the Seahawks. So it's like, man, just gravitate towards that game. I don't even want to blink or really look at the rest of the slate as far as quarterback goes. Of course, if you got the money, pay for Russ. But if not, I'm taking a hard look at Josh Allen. It's Josh Allen over Watson for me this week. All right, let's go to running back. Early thoughts at running back.
Yeah, running back. It doesn't look like last week where there were kind of just some clear options off the rip. Like I think Dalvin Cook at 8,200. I had Dalvin Cook as my top running back tournament play in our expert picks, which you can view on the site last week. But this is where I can tell you quick story, dude. Horror story of FanDuel. So I always wait until after our Sunday morning live stream to make one lineup. So I was going to make it on FanDuel this past week. They had some nice single entries. So I sat down right after the stream. You were talking up the Chiefs, right? So I go, okay. So I put Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, put them in. Then I'm looking at our website, expert picks. I'm like, man, I really like Dalvin Cook. Put them in. Boom. I had some other guys like Ayuk, who I was really high on. Entered the lineup. It wouldn't let me enter it, right? Because FanDuel was down. Naturally, FanDuel was down. So I try to enter it for like 10 minutes over and over. It doesn't let me. Eventually, I just gave up and didn't enter it. And I know I haven't went back and added it up, dude, but I know that lineup went off. Because Mahomes, all those guys went off, dude. So I know it would have done well. So I'm super tilted about that. But
yeah, actually, I like looking at that expert pick sheet, by the way. That's up at the website later in the evening, Friday afternoons, to see where everybody's kind of pivots and stuff are at. But by the way, Ben, real quick before you move on, can you just let the people of the YouTube world and the Apple iTunes world, who texted you Saturday night and said Dalvin Cook and Cash with the emoji looking upward? I was just wondering, could you name that person live on the podcast? And I got hatred from you and Sam.
I didn't hate it. Sam was the one that hated it. I gave you no hate.
I am
for that
so
comment.
mad because you know me. I was thinking outside the box. Like, I don't care. Obviously, I was going to go from Derrick Henry to Dalvin Cook in cash games, and I was taking a hard look. That's why I texted you about it. But okay, move on.
Yeah, no. So I think 8,200 against Detroit, one of the best matchups in the league. Obviously, we have no Kamara, no Zeke, obviously, guys like that. Those guys aren't on this slate. So I think Cook's probably the premier guy there. We'll see what happens with McCaffrey later in the week. But even if he was active, I don't know if we could fully trust that. We'll see. Henry's at home, which we like, but Chicago, not a great matchup. So I would take Cook over him. I think James Robinson, is the next guy, obviously. He's Gaskin-esque in terms of his usage. Like, he's just getting all of the run for the Jaguars at running back for the most part. Really good matchup against Houston. Sketchy quarterback situation, though, because Minshew's out there, so we'll have to wait and see on that. But I do think he is a good play at his price. Like Zeke's 6,600, but they've got this guy, Ben DiNucci, starting. I don't know. I saw that might be Cooper Rush. We'll see. But that's just too sketchy of a situation for me to trust against the Steelers. So I think it's really Cook at the top, and then I like Robinson. People will probably look for a cheaper guy. I guess Matt Breida might be the guy that ends up getting this run. He's 4K and Gaskin's out now.
Cool.
Like, I think that might end up being a like one of those classic, like week 1 Antonio Gibson type plays that people are going to go to in cash games just because he's only 4K.
Easy. I was one of those guys.
I know. I mean, 4K. Don't you think? Obviously, it's only Tuesday, but 4K against Arizona. I would assume people
Yeah,
want to play that, right?
right. Again, even before we came on the podcast, I just kind of half-heartedly, jokingly asked you any randomness, and you said my boy Miles Gaskin, who I played in cash games on FanDuel because our projections portal had him ranked as the number 3 value. He produced again. I mean, the guy he gets like 22 touches a week and nobody talks about it. And he's actually not that bad. It's 3 or 4 catches. So yeah, I mean, Bright isn't played, especially against the fast-paced Arizona team. They will be playing from behind. Bright should be involved in the pass catching game as well. So, I mean, you would assume that that's going to be a hot play in the DFS bubble later in the week. Obviously, Delvin Cook's going to be completely chalk. I mean, to be honest, 8,200 seems cheap after he scored 69 points or whatever it was, So he's going to be the Kirk Cousins to Jeffries and Thielen stacks, by the way, in 3-max entry, 5-max entry is probably the easiest tournament lineup I'm going to build all week. It doesn't even matter what happens with it. It's just the process of that's how I will attack a 3-max entry, 5-max entry this week. Like I'm going to have that stack and, just to get off that Dalvin Cook, monster chalk that's going to be coming. So yeah, you're going to have to play Cook in cash games. I mean, especially against this Lions defense that you easily can run on. I agree with you. At $7,000, he's too cheap. That James Robinson, that is. Now it's just going to come down to lineup construction. Obviously, it's early in the week, but I guess I want to play James Robinson. You don't even have to sweat the touches or any of that equity. I mean, he's going to get it. It's just a matter of, is he going to outperform value? I would say yes. Take another hard look at Josh Jacobs. That was my guy in the expert picks sheet of the week, my pivot play of the week. He was, like 10% owned, probably a little bit higher than I thought, to be honest. I thought it was going to be more lower owned, but 6,300 just screams he's too cheap. Ben, talk to me real quick about the Chargers. Like, I'll be honest. I mean, maybe Frosty's listening and he can chime in Discord. For some reason, I kind of have a hard time the last few years handicapping the run game for an offense that is against the Chargers. Like, yes, I know Ingram and Bosa are scary, intimidating, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you've been able to run on the Chargers the last couple of years. Like, what's going on this year on the Chargers?
Yeah, it's not. I think it's more, without having the data up, I think it's more of like a neutral matchup. But Jacobs is just the guy that if the Raiders are winning, he's gonna get the ball a lot, and that's good. But he has to score. Like last week, he had 100, he had like 120 yards or so against the Browns, but he just didn't smash because he didn't find the end zone. Like
31 touches.
Yeah. If the Raiders are winning the game, he's gonna get the rock heavy. It's just he has to find the end zone to really have that big day. I think on the opposite side of that game, I think Justin Jackson might have been the chalk before we got this Gaskin being out news. So I think that's interesting. What to do with the Chargers situation. And then one more guy I got to bring up, our guy, us being Ohio State fans. J.K. Dobbins is 4,900. I know this
He's
is probably
so good, by the way.
Yeah, this is more so probably for tournaments, but dude, he's literally, if you look at the metrics, he's been pretty much the most efficient runner in the entire NFL. He scored last week. Like Gus Edwards, like the problem is that they still have Gus Edwards, but Dobbins is just so much better, and he's gonna force his way into the field. Like 4,900, I think it's probably just better for tournaments. But actually, I don't think he scored last week. But I think he went over 100 yards. It was one of the two. I think he went over 100 yards.
All right. While you were doing that, I was writing down some notes. So J.K. Dobbins will go in my Kirk Cousins plus Jeffries plus Thielen stack for all you GPP players out there. I love that call. I mean, honestly, I need to get better at looking into the J.K. Dobbins of the world because, I don't know, he hasn't been on my mind. I know he hasn't produced, but I started hearing the trends that he might be getting more involved. Yeah, I mean, 15 touches. It would be nice if he saw, that offense is just not going to produce many passes to the backs. That always hurts. Here's a guy, I mean, again, he's just not sexy at all, but he's going to hit value. I promise you. It's David Johnson. Like, that's the type of play that I make because I'm boring in cash games. Like, I tend to always just play the lane plays. David Johnson's probably going to hit value. I mean, he's 5,600. Decent high total game. It's a little bit of a pivot off Watson. I mean, frankly, you could probably even play him with him, to be honest, suck up all the points. I mean, David Johnson's due at one point this year to have kind of that true ceiling game. I mean, it's just the opportunity. I mean, he's getting enough attempts rushing. He's seen like 3 to 5 targets a week at least. I mean, at bare minimum. I don't know, man. What are your thoughts on David Johnson? Again, I know it's not sexy by any means, but
Yeah, definitely not sexy, but if Watson ends up being chalky, that could be a way to get some leverage off of him in tournaments, or just in an otherwise chalky lineup that you make. You could add David Johnson in for a little bit of leverage.
all right, that about does it for running back. Let's look to wide receiver.
Yeah, so receiver is interesting. I was gonna say, like, people might want to look at, obviously, if DK at 7,800, which I think is playable every slate, but people might want to look at Diggs if they're playing Josh Allen. But Keenan Allen at 7K still feels underpriced to me. Like, I still think 7K is just too cheap for him. It's crazy. Another 11 targets last week, found the end zone, so I think he's a good play. And then Lockett, I think, is a great play as well, 6,800. I know, like, it's so tough for me to take one of those Seattle guys in cash because you don't know which one is going to have the big game. But, I mean, we've been attacking Buffalo in the slot all year. The matchup is set up well for Lockett. We're probably going to have Josh Allen on the other side of that game. So I do think Lockett and Keenan seem like the two best spend ups, I think, to me.
Yeah, I mean, I faded Keenan. Did you play Keenan in cash games and DraftKings?
Yeah, I played him on DraftKings. I almost
Yeah,
played him over Lockett on FanDuel, which would have cashed, I'm pretty sure, if I had done that.
My boy Kendrick Bourne to be alive almost beat him. That would have been really nice. Again, that's what I'm saying. Like, I felt like I made a great lineup, but you're right. Like, it is just scary fading Keenan Allen, especially in cash games. Like, at this point, like, I can't even describe it. And frankly, again, I believe he's going to be marked up with LaMarcus Joyner. I mean, that's an unbelievably easy matchup, which the rest of the DFS bubble will be, of course, touting later in the week, I'm sure. But $7,000 home game against a Raiders team where he should eat against LaMarcus Joyner in specific. I mean, I feel like you got to play him. I want to bring up my guy who playing home game, dome game, which we love. I always just feel like it's Coors Field in Atlanta, but 7,200 for Julio. Like, wait, what is going on here? Like, why is he? I mean, seriously, Ben, why is he 7,200 still? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you just got to play Julio. Like, pay down at running back. I mean, try to get Dalvin Cook in there, obviously, but man, talk me off of Julio. Like, tell me why the Broncos would shut him down. I mean, what's up with their secondary? I mean, anything you can add real quick on Julio?
No, it's definitely a good matchup. 7,200 still is too cheap for Julio, but like I just think that, like, Keenan, I can't believe I'm saying this. Keenan feels a little bit safer, at least in terms of cash. But no, I mean,
I'm trying to play.
Yeah, no, I love Julio. You know that I love Julio too. Great play at 7,200, and since he's between Diggs and Keenan and Lockett and DK, like, literally no one will play him.
Hey, and put it like this, Ben. Julio Jones is by far a better play than DK Metcalf this week. I mean, tell me I'm wrong with that statement. I mean, yeah, DK Metcalf's a freak. Julio Jones is a way better wide receiver, and Julio Jones is still a freak. I mean, let's be real. I mean, you get the price savings. I don't know what ownership's going to be like, but the Broncos secondary, I mean, they can't stop anybody, right?
Yeah, no, he is definitely. I would agree that he's a better play if, like, I would have to see projected ownership, obviously, but no, I agree off the bat. Yeah.
Now let me ask you this before we move on: you would take Tyler Lockett just to save that $400 over Julio Jones?
In cash, if I have Josh Allen, probably yes.
Yeah. All right. What about this next range? I mean, the mid range is interesting. There's definitely a bunch of names in the mid range this week.
Yeah, like, I think guys that just jump off on Tuesday, like Brandon Cooks at 5,500, DJ Moore at 5,600 against KC, Christian Kirk at 5,300 at home against Miami. Like, those guys all jump off, all three of them. I think, all are pretty cash playable as of now, I would say. Moore, I think, is someone that will get a good amount of ownership as of right now. Anyways, 5,600 is just too cheap.
Yeah. We talk about DJ Moore in the offseason, during the season. I mean, 5,600 just seems feel like that's a cash lock. Don't need to harp on that. I'm
Yeah.
trying to look down below
I
for even the
wish, dude,
cheapy
I wish
guys.
Minshew was playing. I can't trust this Jacksonville quarterback situation, but if Minshew was playing, dude, DJ Chark's 5,200 against Houston. Like, what is that price tag, man? 5,200?
Yeah, that's crazy. Real quick, let's just address the Detroit situation because that's obviously going to take some steam. And frankly, we might have to guess right on one of those wideouts.
Yeah, I mean Marvin is what 5,100. Minnesota obviously really good matchup. Like who do you like though? Like in this receiving core, Marvin's looked
I
like
know.
dust. He has come back. He has come back the last couple weeks and played good. Like who do you like outside of Marvin, right? Like, we might see
Well,
Quintez Cephas come back into play. He's 3K. I mean, it's just a weird situation. So other than Marvin
like
and Hawkinson, like who do you want to play?
well, that's the thing. It's like I almost don't want to guess wrong because I feel like it's just, especially with Patricia. I've been down this
Yeah.
road
I
before.
guess
You like,
Marvin maybe could get some ownership if people talk him up.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just right now almost want to avoid the situation. Maybe in that Kirk
Yeah.
Cousins, Jeffries, Thielen stack I'm talking about. Like, yes, of course, bring it back with one of those guys. But I don't know. First look early this week, I don't want any of those guys. I mean, Marvin Jones, I'm sure will project well in our projections portal, which is free, by the way. I'm guaranteed he's going to project well. And then the value guys that are going to pop in those models, which I like to look at, as do you and everyone else, are probably going to be even Amendola as well as Marvin Hall. So you're going to have to make decisions this week. This week looks interesting. I just feel like this is a better slate than last week, no question.
Yeah. Marvin will probably pop in projections, I would guess. But we know Stafford has bad splits without Galladay in the
Yeah.
lineup. So yeah, it could be a good avoid, honestly.
All right, let's go to tight end.
Yeah, I mean, you can spend up tight end in tournaments all you want. Kelsey against Carolina 7,200, whatever you guys want to do there. The one that jumps off the page instantly to me, your boy Hunter Henry's 4K against
Oh
the
man,
Raiders. Like, it's just mega chalk, right? Everyone will be playing Hunter Henry.
I'm smiling because I love that price.
I know, like, what else? I don't even think you need to debate it. Like, just plug him into your cash line and move on.
Damn, you like almost need an Oakland player in this lineup if you're going with Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry. And that's why Josh Jacobs is going to be interesting. He's going to be
Yeah.
probably more owned than we think.
And we can play Herbert in tournaments who no one plays ever, and no one will again play him this week because he's priced right by Allen. So
I gotta admit, there's guys that's a flaw in my DFS game. For some reason, I'm the guy that like takes a little longer to buy into whoever the commodity is in whatever sport. Like I gotta start buying in a little bit sooner. Like I feel like Herbert, I should be buying in a little bit earlier. And frankly, when I saw his price, Ben, just to let you know, like I was like, that's actually not a bad price. So I don't know. Like maybe you could even play him in cash games. He has rushing upside, right?
yeah, the only problem is they price him up. Like he's 68 and Allen's 7K. Like I'd rather just play Allen, but
Yeah.
Herbert for sure in tournaments is a really good pivot. Like he had a quote unquote bad game last week and still scored 23 DraftKings points.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the industry talks up tight end this week because you're right, Hunter Henry just screaming value. Hayden Hurst, 4,100. The guy, he's better, man, than some people think. He kind of burned people week one. I guess you could theoretically, and that's an awesome pivot. Like I'm going to write that down right now because Hayden Hurst is essentially the same price point. He is, right? $100 more.
Yeah.
So in the event that Hunter Henry becomes complete chalk, what I'll do in one of my lineups in the 3 max entry is simply flip, Hunter Henry to Hurst. Still a great play, still quote unquote optimal, whatever you want to call it. And what Hurst is probably going to be a lot lower owned. And he's probably just about has a great probability of hitting that ceiling as Henry does. I don't know. There could be some lower guys later in the week. You know how the drill goes and some injuries and COVID and such. But man, Hunter Henry, really cheapy.
Yep.
Anyone else?
No, I mean you could look at our boy Alberto in tournaments, but that's about it. Yeah, Hawkinson's great in tournaments.
You have to consider Hawkinson though. I mean, got to consider him, but definitely take the savings with Henry and Hayden Hurst. All right, defense.
Man, defense. I thought I didn't realize like how banged up Myles Garrett was for my Browns love with their defense on Sunday. That was not good. I don't know. I mean, I think that the Giants, I think, are somewhat interesting. I wish they were at home, but 2,700, their defense actually hasn't been that bad. Um, I don't know. I kind of, we just want to take one of these cheaper ones. You have like Tennessee at home. Haven't really been able to get a ton of pressure on quarterbacks, which is not good. But I also don't really trust the Bears offense that much. I think it's hilarious that the Steelers are almost 5K though. I mean, you literally you're getting Hunter Henry for $900 less than the
Yeah.
Steelers defense.
It is pretty funny actually, and like the odds are very slim that they actually any of those guys. I never pay up for defense. I mean, I really never do. I almost played Miami in cash games, but like a donk, I switched last second to the Browns because of the weather.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe,
anyways,
maybe
I like
Falcons.
Minnesota.
Oh, you like
Yeah,
Minnesota?
Falcons.
Yeah, Falcons are
Yeah.
2,500. Drew Lock is sketchy, so.
I just always like to look down, like, make my best lineup, give me the cheapest defense. I mean, I think at some point, dude, down the road, which will change the DFS landscape, is just get defenses off and
Yeah,
put another flex
whatever
position
site takes defense off first and adds another flex is gonna get like so many people will want to play there. I don't know
Yeah,
why they haven't done it
make
yet.
pricing hard, make pricing hard, make people make more decisions, and I just feel like that's a cool route to go. All right, that does it, y'all. Good luck week 9. As always, Ben, myself, the rest of the staff, really for all sports, NFL, we're in the swing right now, dfskarma.com. Hop in the Discord chat. And then, of course, on both websites, betkarma.com and dfskarma.com, we have all of our projections, our simulations, our content, cheat sheets, core plays. You can access all of those under the subscription button. Thanks, guys. Good luck this week.